Hey, I am Hannah, your host. You are listening to Let's Talk People, a podcast about my messy musings as a trained counselor. And today's messy musing is about belonging. Does the word belonging mean anything to you? Are you someone that wants to belong or wants to feel like you belong? I'm asking because I'm not. I've just never really thought about wanting to belong or struggled with feeling like I don't belong or appreciating that I do belong. I mean, I understand the experience, but belonging has always felt like a heavy word. I've always kind of resonated more with like the experience of fitting in. I've wanted to fit in at school, with friends, with my cousins, but belonging has just felt kind of heavy. And it is bigger, like by definition, I looked it up. The actual definition of belonging is to belong means to be the property of, to be a member of some kind of group. Which is kind of funny, I guess, to me, and a bit ironic because actually, like, I don't really belong anywhere in terms of where I'm from. So I was born in London, England. I grew up in Oakville, Ontario. After like a year stint we spent in Dayton, Ohio. My parents and my grandparents both were born in East Africa. One set of my grandparents actually still lives there in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. But if you looked at me, you would never know any of those things. In fact, you would probably think that I was Indian. Most people do. And it's why I have a hard time with the question, where are you from? Because I just never know how to answer it. My husband loves it. He loves answering the question for me. And I've learned that this story of mine, it's a really interesting story to tell. Like there are all these places in my story to be from all over the place. But for me, where am I from? Depends what you're asking. Are you asking where my family is from? Are you asking where I was born? If I've spent most of my life in Canada, does that mean I'm from here now? The thing is, when I say I'm from here, I'm from Canada, people look at me confused. Like, I'm only telling half the story. And they're right. It is only half or a fraction of the story. But while the question like seems simple, it's not for me. Because I actually don't really feel like they're asking where I'm from as much as they want to know something more specific and they're being polite. What they really want to ask is, hey, you look Indian, but you don't have an Indian accent and you're in Canada, so are you really from India even if you're Canadian? Are you Indian? Which is a totally valid question, right? It is. But we never quite get there. For two reasons. So one, I mean, it's fairly direct for like a stranger to stranger conversation, even like a non-stranger, like friend to friend conversation. But also, like, I don't exactly make it easy. When you ask where I'm from, I typically respond with this like short, sort of like armor heavy, bulletproof answer. Something I know I can mostly get away with, and then I just like holds to it. I just don't budge. I say, I'm Canadian, I'm from here. And very few ask a follow-up, which is, again, it's by design. I answer in a way to make you uncomfortable because I'm uncomfortable, because I don't know how to answer. And I don't know how to answer because I don't really know where I'm from. I mean, I'm British by passport, by birth, but when I claim that, people always ask why I don't have a British accent. And sometimes I do. Maybe I do now. It's hard for me to tell, but check out my episode called I'm actually a full-time actress, and you'll know what I mean. I'm not East African and I don't look African, which is why naturally I get surprised looks when I say that my parents and my grandparents were born there. And I'm not like Canadian truly either. But what you think I am, what I look like at least, is a place and an ethnicity I have little to no connection to. It's Indian. My great-great-grandparents are from there. And when I tell people that, it's like, for them, this is the missing piece of the puzzle. Like, oh, that's why you look the way you do. But I always want to like hold that piece of the story out so you don't box me in. So you don't associate me with a place that I personally directly have very little association with. Which is, it's kind of funny, you know, that the place that I look like I belong to is a place I know very little about. That of all the places that I'm quote unquote from, the one I attach to the least really is the one I look like the most. I remember leaving London. I was 8 and my brother was 10. We had to give away our stuffed animals and brought them to my cousin's house in this like black garbage bag. There was this like ratty old Pink Panther that I loved. I was really sad to let that go. And sad to leave my cousins too. I kept wanting to go back in the summers to visit, and it just felt like I needed to make up for what I'd missed. That leaving was like missing out. I had such serious FOMO at such a young age. Like before FOMO was even a thing, I was FOMOing. People say that my dad has a South African accent, but my mom is like hardcore British. And it's cool, like how all of these threads just kind of tie together, right? Like in my story, in my family story, there's such a mix of places, like weaving through these, you know, my family kind of history. But that same kind of thread, it just also feels sometimes untethered and loose, and like I'm just like hanging between these places I'm supposed to be from. This line between like tied together and untethered is like so fine. Johnny says that I should redefine my sense of belonging. And I want to, I will. But right now, I'm kind of enjoying just sort of sitting with all these like bits and bobs and looking at what I've got. Not where I've come from, like it's one place, but like all the wheres, all the froms. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. In between episodes, you can find me on Instagram at HANNN_8H. New episodes are out Mondays and Thursdays, and I will see you back here super soon.